Hello, my dear friends. How are you doing? Hope you are having an amazing day and not having to deal with drama. Ready for new stories I have for you today? Let's go to the first one. And don't forget to listen to the end of the story, guys, to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. I am 26 female. My sister is 29 female. My brother is 19. My father and grandfather founded an architecture building firm when I was a baby and have built it up to be a very profitable business that has won numerous awards. My father's passion for architecture was passed down to me. I won numerous state and national awards for my work in middle school and high school. My high school still has one of my models in the trophy cabinet a decade later. Every summer from middle school, I worked at the business, right from the bottom rung, photocopying, cleaning, mail sorting, coffee getter. In high school, my role changed from kid earning their allowance at the family business to a proper intern. During the school year, I was expected to have a different job. I sold dollhouses for a while and worked fast food, retail for all 4 years of high school. In comparison, my sister did 2 summers as an intern at the business and preferred to work jobs that matched her interests. She is an extremely talented stylist and bridal designer. My brother never worked there, as he is disabled and my parents felt that he wouldn't cope, or so I was told. Before I went to college, things went sour for the business due to my grandfather making some poor choices. My sister was in her final year of college, and my parents approached me to ask if I would sacrifice my college fund to keep everything afloat. A quarter would pay the last year of my sister's tuition, and the rest would be invested in the business. I agreed, under the following agreement. I would work full-time at the business for 2 years for room, board, use of a family car, and around $250 cash a week. I had dreamt of joining the business as an architect after school, and this would give me 2 years of experience that would be invaluable. After 2 years, my parents would pay my tuition. My parents agreed, and my father even put me to room with the architects because he knew my aspirations. It was a hard 2 years, but I learned a ton. 2.5 years later, I went away to my second choice school. Unlike my sister, I did have to work through college whilst she was paid an allowance right up to graduation. Fast forward to now. I'm in my last semester of my master's in architecture. I'm also doing night classes in business and business management and working part-time at a tiny house design firm. Last Christmas, my father and grandfather both mentioned to me how excited they are that I'll soon be qualified to be formally hired. My sister and her fiancé had an engagement dinner recently, and my father stood up to announce that as the newest member of the family, her fiancé would be taking a mid-level position at the business, and that he couldn't imagine anyone better suited to learn the ropes and to take on the family business when he and my grandfather are gone. I nearly threw up at the table, but I waited till we got back to the house before I confronted my father. We'd spoken thousands of times over my life about my dreams of taking over the business, that it was the goal I'd worked towards for 2 decades. The basement is full of my childhood models. I put my life on hold for 2 years to work 60-hour-plus weeks to save the stupid business. My grandfather has a full model of the business that I built him as a gift for his 70th birthday that has lighting and a scale model of him in his office. My brother-in-law is getting the entire business because I'm a girl. When my sister has a boy, it'll technically go to him. My brother and I will both be getting money instead, and my father assured me that the company will always have a job for me. I was visibly sobbing during this conversation, and my grandfather called me entitled. My father told me I was being dramatic and had had too much to drink. It's been a week, and I'm back in my apartment, and I feel like I've been beaten up. I had so many plans and hopes for the business, was so excited to get my own little office in that building I grew up in. I have so many designs that I've saved for when I join the firm. My brother-in-law has no architecture experience, but he does have a degree in business. Not to mention the whole boys are better than girls mentality, and skipping over my brother. He might be disabled, but he's still deserving of love and respect. I feel sick thinking about all the times my father told me my brother couldn't do something because of his disabilities. Now I'm wondering if it was because my father didn't want to spend time with him because of it. Even the photo on his desk at work is just me and my sister at the business holiday party when we were kids. I feel broken, and I don't know what to do. The idea of working there as a junior and answering to my brother-in-law, who is receiving the mentoring and guidance and insight from my grandfather and father. I ducking sacrificed 2 years of my life to keep the company afloat with my college fund. My mother has called and wants us to sit down and talk through this. She keeps telling me I've misunderstood, how everything will be fine, but I feel so let down and like I've just seen who my father is for the first time. What do I do? What do I say to make them understand how they've made me feel? How badly my father has let down all 3 of his children. It would be hilarious if brother-in-law divorces your sister and he keeps the family business. Your father did let you down. I think in this meeting your mom is proposing, you need to explain that you are the most qualified and your brother-in-law has no experience. Business degree doesn't mean he has experience in this business, and he is not an architect. You also studied a lot to meet the needs of the position in business. But I'd also apply to the most prestigious firms out there. Why? First, for career growth. Even apply for opportunities abroad. Learn from the best. Second, for independence. Because I doubt they'll sign a share of the business to you, and they could make bad decisions behind your back, like hire more people like brother-in-law. Third, I'm sure brother-in-law will do a horrible job, and they'll need someone to save the firm eventually. So you can make them beg you to come back. Work for the competition. Also, honestly, there's no point in talking about it. After he's done what he has and called you entitled, if it was me, I'd be stepping back and putting some good space and distance between myself and them. If I were in your shoes, I'd dedicate my life to ensuring that I built a business that eclipses the family business. Go work for the competition, build contacts and experience, bring down the family business. You have talent, passion, and drive. You'll be successful in no time. Make your family regret promising the business to an outsider. I'm 51, female, and my daughter is going to get married in the upcoming months to her boyfriend of 3 years. So far, I've seen that the relationship is going very well, and I'm glad to see my daughter happily engaged. But we had a family dinner to plan for the wedding, and she asked for monetary contributions to pay for the venue and the wedding overall. She said the estimated cost for the wedding would be $40,000 USD. My jaw hit the floor after hearing the price and the money she was asking every one of us to pay. One of my sisters, after hearing it, just stood up and left. I told my daughter I had been a photographer for decades. I had gone to many weddings as a photographer, and the golden rule was, the higher the wedding cost, the shorter the marriage tended to last. I had to deal with too many bridezillas who wanted the perfect wedding of their dreams, only to divorce within a year or two. Some of my most expensive clients were asking for an annulment while the photos were still in the darkroom. I told my daughter to have a small, affordable wedding and to enjoy the day with the man she loves, creating many cute memories. I didn't want her to fall prey to the bridezilla curse. She didn't take it well. She cried and told me I was heartless and unsupportive. Then she told us all to leave. My mom said that was low, and I don't trust her if I think she's going to divorce in a year after having such a fancy wedding. My sister, who had left, said it was ridiculous for expecting us to pay that much, and my older brother said he would try to find the money if that's what she wanted. I'm divided, and I think I've hurt my daughter, but I think I was just speaking my truth. Am I the a-hole? You're the a-hole. If you plan to contribute, then keep the plan and contribute whatever amount you had always planned to do, and the difference is on the couple. Not contributing because you disagree with how much they are estimating it will cost is absurd. The cost of the wedding doesn't make someone a bridezilla or more likely to divorce. A couple having problems is why they divorce. A person is either the type to be a bridezilla because she's a self-entitled person already, or she isn't. Not the a-hole for deciding how much you want to contribute. She and her fiancé are perfectly capable of paying for what they want. You're the a-hole for thinking you know best about their event. There's no basis for your random feeling on it, and a gift should be given without strings to help them do their vision, or not given at all. Recently, I, 23 female, waited on a guy, 24 male, Jason, at the restaurant I work at, and we hit it off. The next time I went into work, he showed up again. I was excited to see him, and we started talking and flirting again. Then he asked me to go on a date. We picked a day that week and shared numbers. We talked it up until the date, which went perfect, and then talked every day and hung out almost every day after that for 2 weeks. We both expressed feelings for each other, but he told me that he had to make a trip to another state for some business, but that he wanted to come back and continue what we started. At the end of 2 weeks, he left for his trip. He drove. He called me every 2 hours, updating me on where he was up until the end of his second day of driving, and I assumed either he pulled over to sleep or was focusing on driving. I woke up the next day and sent him a message, only for it to send as an SMS. We both have iPhones. I sent him a few more throughout the day, but the SMS and my calls going to voicemail led me to believe he was resting and didn't charge his phone. The next day I started to worry. Texts and calls still wouldn't go through, but I knew he didn't block me because of how much interest and effort he put into me, and because I also called his number from someone else's phone and it didn't go through. I waited one more day, 3 days altogether, and calls and texts still wouldn't go through. So I decided I'd try and contact his dad to see if he knew where he was and if he was okay. His family lives in another state, and Jason had never shared any names or numbers with me. It only took a little research on various phone book, white pages, websites to figure it out. I debated if it was appropriate to call him, but I thought I'd rather risk looking sort of weird if it meant I'd know Jason was safe, or if not, at least his family would be made aware of the situation, since he was by himself. His dad answered. I let him know who I was. He already knew about me, that I was sorry to bother him, and that I just wanted to know if he knew if Jason made it to his destination safely. I told him that it was okay with me if Jason did it on purpose, and that all I wanted to know was if he was okay. He told me Jason was safe and busy, so I thanked him and hung up. Jason called me soon after, letting me know he turned off his phone to concentrate on work. I told him I understood, but all he needed to do was to let me know beforehand so I knew he was okay. The next day he called me and told me that although his father was fine with me calling, his stepmom was freaked out that I was able to find his dad's number. She told Jason it was something only police would do, that it was sketchy of me, and that he couldn't talk to me anymore. He said he had to follow his parents' wishes. I'm aware I only knew him for 4 weeks, but as far as I knew, we were going to be in a relationship when he got back, so this was all very shocking to me. Edit. The second day we were talking, he was already asking where I went if I didn't respond within a minute. So I asked him to calm down a little, and he did. I told him I didn't really think I was ready for a relationship yet, but he convinced me he was a great guy by saying and doing things to prove it. So basically, from the start, he was an overboard person, and the sudden disappearance seemed very out of character. Anyways, what I want to know is, am I the a-hole for looking up Jason's father and contacting him because I was worried about his safety? This boy was texting her regularly during a road trip, and at some point just stopped. He put her in a horrible position of having to worry for days if he was okay, or if he'd suffered some ill fate, when a simple text message saying he'd arrived safely would have been the polite and sensible thing to do. It may have been overreach to look up his relative's phone number, but it turns out the father didn't mind, so it wasn't obviously the wrong thing to do. I think OP exercised her best judgment in a horrible situation that wasn't of her making. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. You were concerned and explicitly said it was okay if he just didn't want to talk, and just asked if he was safe. It's maybe a little out there, but it's an issue of safety. Imagine if something had happened and you could have alerted someone, but didn't. At the end of the day, don't just go unresponsive 1 minute to the next with no warning unless you are prepared for someone to assume the worst. Not the a-hole. What you did was considerate, and the reaction from this guy is extreme. As was the fact that he just stopped responding and did not think to say anything to you before turning off his phone. I think you dodged a bullet here. So, a little backstory. My mom has never been a great mom, putting me on diets throughout my whole childhood. I literally wore size SM, still making comments about my weight to this day. I'm in my 20s, babe, etc. I got my wedding dress in 2021 and had it planned for weeks. Of course, invited my mom and sister. My mom said she was going for a drive with her boyfriend at that day and time, because men have always been more important to her than kids, but I'm not bitter at all. My sister said she had to work, which I completely understood. Fast forward to 2022. My sister planned her wedding dress day for a Wednesday in October. She invited me, and I told her I would take off. I used PTO, and we were talking about the event prior to said day, and she was giving off vibes. I don't know how to explain it, but the way she was acting was like she was hiding something. She randomly texted me at like 10 p.m. that her wedding dress day was canceled because of illness at the dress shop. I asked if they would let her reschedule to let me know when, etc. Sister, mom, and I are in a group chat with each other, and they are constantly texting the group. All was normal up until Wednesday, supposed to be dress day, and it was complete silence. I didn't hear from either of them and assumed they were busy. On Thursday, my sister randomly sent pics of her in a wedding dress. I told her it was beautiful and asked when she got to go. Was super excited that she found something because it can be hard to find the perfect dress for your big day. She told me that she went on Wednesday and took my mom, grandma, and some other people. She asked me not to be upset before I could respond. I was obviously a little hurt by it, but thought I was being dramatic. I told her I was happy for her, etc. I opened the pics again and realized it looks exactly like my dress. She has also been posting music for her wedding on social media, and it's identical to my playlist. Our whole life she's tried to one-up me. I haven't said anything because I don't want to start anything, and I want to maintain the very little family I have. I am extremely upset because I felt like it was purposely hidden. My fiancé is tired of my mom and sister's crap because they have done this type of thing numerous times. He told me he doesn't want them at the wedding. At this point, I wouldn't mind not inviting them, but then again, I don't want to hurt them or cause drama. I feel guilty for being mad, and I don't know what to do. Am I the a-hole? Stop sharing important things about your life. Keep your current plans. Tell them you don't mind if they don't attend your wedding since it's basically the same as your sister's at this point, and you don't want them to be bored. I hope you get married before your sister so her lack of originality is obvious. You're not the a-hole for being hurt. Not the a-hole. Love, it's time to cut them off. For the rest of your life, they will be trying to one-up you. This will not change. If you get pregnant, she will too. If you want to name your baby something, she will suddenly steal the name. You have a daughter who happens to eat some chips or something around them. They are going to call you a horrid parent for it and tell you she's fat. You have a son who likes feminine things. They might say your husband is clearly an inactive parent, and then she'll talk about how great her husband is to try to one-up you. This will be the rest of your life. What do they bring to the table here? What are the positives in keeping this relationship? You've clearly been gaslit your whole life into thinking you have to put up with this. You don't. It's best to learn that now than spend the next 60 years dealing with it. Not the a-hole. Why would you feel guilty for being upset over being so blatantly disrespected? Concentrate on you and your fiancé. Make your wedding yours without worrying about them. And take a little break from them. You need it. They know they did you dirty. Update. Between all of you amazing people and my amazing fiancé, I have finally decided to take a step back from them. I've gone very, very, very low, no contact. During my aunt's birthday dinner, they asked for some details about the wedding. I shared some very real and ridiculously expensive details, and I think I gave my sister some ideas. I feel so much less stressed, it's unreal.